Friday. We're going to do us some DGUs and have just kind of a good old traditional, original Firearms Friday. I've got 4 this morning. That's it, just 4. Right? So, now, before we get into those, I implore you all, especially if you're watching on YouTube. I love my Rumble audience. I'll be frank with you. I prefer my Rumble audience. So if you're watching on YouTube, I want you to click that button, hit the like, share, subscribe, and then get over to Rumble. All right? I'm watching the Rumble chat this morning closely, and right now I recognize all the names here, and it's great to see all of y'all. Desert Rat, good morning. Patrick, Pitt, Danny, good morning, guys. I see Jay's there. Megan's there. Love you guys. Thanks for watching this morning. As soon as I start seeing some names I don't recognize, or even better yet, names that I recognize who usually watch on YouTube, who have switched over to Rumble, we'll start giving away some freebies this morning. So y'all hop on over here. Pitt Danny correctly states Rumble is for patriots. That is correct. So let's get into, since all that's out of the way, let's get into this first DGU. Police determine homeowners acted in self-defense during Conway home invasion. Let me tell you something, guys. We've been doing the DGUs for a long time, and they were a little tricky back in the day when we first started doing it, because the idea was that we would share the DGUs, defensive gun use stories, and I and whoever the co-host of the day was, where Cameron, Mario, whoever's clever and handy, we would try to put our hands on DGUs where we could tell it was a DGU without reading past the headline, so that we could be kind of surprised and reacting with you. There's an unexpected benefit to programs like ChatGPT now. I can tell ChatGPT that that's what I'm looking for. Now, ChatGPT is not going to be 100%, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier to get my hands on a stack of DGUs without having to read in enough to figure out if it's actually a DGU or just a crime story headline, and have a better expectation of consistency there. So hopefully this is going to help us develop it a little bit more. And we'll see, because I just said all that, and I have not read the articles that we're about to dig into. So we might all get surprised this morning. Let's see what happens. Police determine homeowner acted in self-defense during Conway home invasion. That sounds promising. That sounds very promising. The Conway Police Department announced on Friday that charges will not be filed in a deadly Conway shooting case from May. Okay, it says it's from May. We used to try to get them from, within the last week to try and keep them all fresh. But we'll see what happens. Oh my God, that almost ruined me right there. I was about to read that sentence, and the sentence that nearly left my mouth just a moment ago was, an unarmed 2-year-old cat from the New York Hanover County Sheriff's Office Animal Services Unit is looking for her new forever home. Unnamed. I see. This is unrelated to the story. An unnamed 2-year-old cat, not an unarmed 2-year-old cat. Oh, come on now. You're failing me. What has happened here? That's all I get is the headline? Okay, guys. Okay, bear with me. There's some shenanigans there. Is it just the headline? What the hell?
Also new for you at noon.
Oh, no. Okay. Okay. So we're down 1. We're moving on to the next one. Screw them. Oh, well, that was obnoxious. Actually, okay. Thanks for that, Patrick. Off topic, but yes, apparently Mom Donnie had a cash-only bar at his victory party. You know, I mean, no surprise from a communist, but it's especially funny because he's such a vehement anti-Semite. Okay. So, homeowner shoots, kills intruder in apparent self-defense in Pierce County. Sounds like a DGU. Or some a DRT. Sounds like a DRT. Deputies arrived at the scene to find a 36-year-old man with a single gunshot wound to the back porch. Ooh, shot him in the ass? Oh, no. Physical location. Roger that. Pierce County, Washington, a homeowner shot and killed an intruder early Sunday morning in what appears to be a case of self-defense, according to the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. This incident occurred around 1:45 a.m. when the homeowner called 911 to report the shooting. Okay, let's see.
Deputy Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office.
I'm not getting any audio here.
Morning around 1:40. Deputy Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. This morning around 1:45 a.m., we responded to a tragic homicide incident. The preliminary investigation does appear to be a self-defense case.
On September 14th, around 1:45 a.m.
Okay, you guys need to hire somebody like myself to help you out with that video situation because you're doing it wrong. The incident occurred around 1:45 a.m. when the homeowner called 911 to report the shooting. Guys, please. Oh. You gotta have a little bit of vim and vigor, right? You can't just. Deputies arrived at the scene to find a 36-year-old man with a single gunshot wound on the back porch. Despite attempts to save his life, the man was pronounced dead. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was captured on multiple homeowners' security cameras walking around various. Jesus, guys! You're telling a story that's full of drama and intrigue and suspense and people getting greased for doing stupid. If somebody's going to play stupid games and win stupid prizes, those prizes should be brightly colored, loud, obnoxious, the kind of shit that your wine aunt would give your kids for Christmas so that you could take them home and hand them something more distracting while you throw that obnoxious piece of shit in the trash. Because otherwise, it's not catching anybody's attention. So, honey, I'm gonna need you to at least, I know this makes me a terrible, monstrous misogynist. And okay, you're talking about a heavy situation and all, but baby girl, look at the camera.
Deputy Capetto with the Pierce County Sheriff's
Smile.
Office.
Just smile for
around
me.
1:45 a.m., we responded to a tragic homicide incident.
Aaron Olson says the criminal had a life too. Okay, A, no he didn't because he was out doing stupid. And B, not anymore. And that's kind of the point. That's in fact a reason not to be where you shouldn't be. You've all heard the expression wrong place, wrong time. Well, guys, let me tell you something. We talk about blaming the victim when we say you shouldn't go down the dark alley in the short skirt while you're shit-faced drunk in the middle of the night in, I don't know, communist-run New York City where rape gangs are about to be the new buzzword around there. There are, in fact, wrong places to be. And there are wrong places to be there. If you are the sort of person who needs to be in wrong places at wrong times, then you need to become, by arming yourself, training yourself, and keeping your head on a swivel and not being shit-faced drunk in public, you need to become the wrong place at the wrong time for anybody who would be digging in to compromise your safety, security, liberty, and prosperity. Arm yourselves, boys. Be somebody else's wrong place at the wrong time. Be the choice that someone else should not have made. Whew. Oh, Jay says Crusades Revival in Perry, Georgia tonight if anyone is looking for something to do on a Friday night. Whew. That's, I went to, I didn't go to the revival itself. I went to the prayer circle the night before, to the one they had in Sandersville a couple weeks ago. And Jay, I still owe you some video from that. But yes, Kenev says, cured and someplace warm. What more could they hope for? Yes. So deputies arrived at the scene to find a 36-year-old man with a single gunshot wound to the back porch. Despite attempts to save his life, the man was pronounced dead. So we have ourselves a DRT. Prior to the shooting, the suspect was captured on multiple homeowner security cameras walking around various properties in the area. The 51-year-old homeowner has been cooperative with authorities and no arrests have been made as the investigation continues. Excuse me. That right there, this guy was looking to be in the wrong place, as in someone else's place. Pit Day says, okay. I know, Patrick, you're watching, and so I just have to say it. I just have to say it for you, Patrick. A quarter of a fucking dinner roll. We shot a wedding in Perry, Georgia. It was a huge all-day event. We were there for like 16 hours. Five-man film crew. Produced a feature-length film of a wedding video. At the end of the day, the caterers had a separate dinner prepared for all the vendors that were there, including ourselves, the video crew. It was cold quinoa. And I shit you not, they took the dinner rolls. You know, the small dinner rolls? Right? This wasn't like a peasant loaf from Outback or something. No, it was the little square dinner rolls. And each of us got a quarter of one. Somebody sat there and cut these dinner rolls into quarters and put them in our little lunch boxes. And that was it. So we went and spent probably $150 on barbecue at that Buc-ee's that Pitt Danny's referencing down there in Perry, Georgia, after that wedding. I was livid because rule number one, the first rule, there is no other rule that comes before this in film production of any kind, whether you're a professional producer or you're a student filmmaker, or you're somebody who's hired a film crew for example, a wedding, is you feed the crew. I got some thoughts about Perry, Georgia. The wedding was cool. The shoot was awesome. The product was great, and it was one of the best invoices I ever wrote. But come on, man. We've been here 16 hours. I need a calorie. Like a whole ass calorie, not a quarter one. Moving on. Homeowner shoots, kills, we just did that one. There we go. Homeowner shoots suspect during attempted break-in, police say. Surprise, Arizona. I did say we might get a surprise. That's great. Okay, so in Surprise, Arizona, one suspect has been shot and another is in custody after they tried to break into a home Monday morning, police in Arizona said. According to police in Surprise, two suspects were trying to force their way into a house when the homeowner opened fire, striking one of them. You know, Surprise may be one of the worst places you can get up to nonsense, get up to bad ideas. It's almost because people are sitting around. If the name of your city is Surprise, Arizona, There are people sitting around just looking for good excuses to bust that particular pun out. I'm just saying, guys. Okay. It's almost unthinkable, especially in the morning hours, in the early morning hours, neighbor Nancy McCraven said. You never think it's going to happen, especially in a nice, quiet neighborhood like this. And it's always quiet. Okay. Before we moved out to the middle of nowhere, oh God, Patrick. Patrick says, wrong. Get into some shenanigans in the town of Climax, Georgia. Where the hell is that? I've never even, Patrick, that's a new one on me. I'm going to have to look that up. But we lived in a golf course community just outside of Metro Atlanta before we moved out to the middle of nowhere. Now out here, ain't nothing happening. There are no neighbors, right? I can fire my rifle in any direction and I won't get in trouble for it. Not because it's particularly safe or the law says it's okay or anything like that, but precisely because there's nobody to hit, right? But Conyers, Georgia, where, by the way, the sheriff's department has a 0% solve rate for homicide. I guess that solve rate is 1% now, because in this particular instance, a young man went into his family home and murdered his mother and father, and if I remember correctly, a girlfriend, right? It was Firearms Friday. We were on air when it happened. I could hear the gunshots from the studio when it went down that morning. Right? So if there are people in your zip code, it can indeed happen to you. Like I said, there's nobody around here for a while. And I still don't discount the possibility that some random person could just wander into my yard totally at random. Shit can happen, right? We're not so far removed that I don't get the occasional Amazon package because, I ordered them. But you can never, ever operate under the assumption that it cannot happen to you. That is the state of play. So it is not unthinkable, and you must never allow yourself to believe that it is. A recent break-in surprise that ended in a shooting had many wondering when is it justified for a homeowner to use a weapon against an intruder. Some neighbors said that they heard the commotion early in the morning. I woke up around 3:30 and then I was getting ready in my room, and I didn't think it was a big deal until I heard them get closer to our house, Shaylee Cocker said. They said, oh my God. Phew. That sounds like some Daisy Dukes and an ankle tattoo, maybe a pinky ring, or a toe ring rather. They said they were shocked about what happened. It happened 2 doors down, and you never know who it could be next. And so I think everybody is going to start to raise their security awareness, Cocker said. Detectives are investigating. Well, no shit. With so many questions still lingering, families said they cannot help but wonder what they would do in that situation. Don't wonder. Don't wonder what you will do in that situation. Know it. Know what you would do. All right, men, especially young men in their late teens and early 20s, will just sit around and jaw jack and say, if then. Man, if I was there, I'd blah, 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 blah. And to an ill-informed or unsophisticated observer, what they hear there is somebody bloviating and bragging and trying to improve the vision of themselves among a peer group. And the fact is that most young men, when they have those conversations, boy, I'd have whooped his ass. I'd have come in from the side, and I'd have hit that off switch and put him on his ass. And that is not mere foolish bloviation. It is base level, unsophisticated wargaming. And if we can help younger men to understand this better, then they can elevate that activity, which is a natural instinct. We can elevate that activity from mere bloviation and power fantasy to actual security-minded posture construction, to contemplating SOPs. So instead of saying, I'd have whooped his ass, say, well, hold on, okay. The situation arises. You're sitting in a Waffle House. Somebody comes in with a revolver, points it at the waitress, and says, empty out the cash register. What do? Are you a responsible, decent man? Right? A presupposition which includes the presupposition that you are armed. Do you have a good, have you chosen beforehand to take a good security posture? Right? When you go in and the waitress asks you where you want to sit, or you choose the booth you want to sit in. I'm using the Waffle House as an example because they're all pretty uniform. Have you chosen to sit in the back corner opposite the cash register, so that when somebody's got a gun pointed at the waitress, you're right here at his 45 at an easy target? Or were you paying attention when you picked your seat and chose the other corner, knowing that if somebody comes in to rob the cash register, then you've got the crossfire on his back? Were you foolish enough to go in there without a firearm? What are your options? Can you engage in environmental combat? Is there something nearby that's heavy enough to throw? Right? Glass of water? Not going to do it. Full 155 thermos? Might just work out. Right? Sugar pillar. Right? Or the cigarette machine or the jukebox. Right? Patrick Brown brings that up because that's an actual story. That's something that actually happened. That wasn't a robbery situation, though. That was an asshole that was beating on his girlfriend. I threw the jukebox at him. But Aaron Olson says send a message with jelly packets. I did see a situation where that Waffle House, that favorite Waffle House that we used to haunt in the late 90s, dude came in with a revolver, tried to rob the Waffle House, and the cook at the griddle turned around, saw what was happening, and took one of they've got the small, they're like 4-inch or 3-inch or 4-inch cast iron skillets that they do the scrambled eggs in. They call them the cheese pans. And he whipped a cheese pan at the guy's head and chased him out the door with a spatula. But yeah, that right there, that it's terrifying. Because you don't know what's going to happen. Well, then you already fucked up. If you don't know what's going to happen, if you don't know what you'll do, then you've already failed. Right? Yeah, age-old wisdom. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. There is a lot of truth to that. But I'm here to tell you, battle drills are a real thing. Right? Battle drills are a real thing. Battle drills are for when shit goes wrong. Okay, so here's your safety brief. So here's your safety brief, and then we'll wrap it up. In the military, we have these things called battle drills. A battle drill, the titles of battle drills are almost universally react to X. React to contact, react to IED, react to X, right? React to roadside, react to ambush, etc. And what what the battle drill is essentially, as tacticians and strategists, we've gone down the list and said, okay, what are the things the enemy will do to us? Right? They'll try to leave booby traps. They'll, roadside bombs. They'll try to set up ambushes. They'll try to run patrols to seek out our entrenched positions and ambush positions. They'll try to run counterintelligence operations on us. They'll try to run intelligence operations on us. How do we react? Right? This is low-level game theory. So what do you do when you encounter an enemy tactic being employed against your interest with the purpose of causing you harm or death? Right? And the answer to that question is highly dependent on the circumstance. As an intel operator, part of my working theory was always it's useful and important to know your battle drills and be good at them. Right? If you identify an enemy ambush, or more correctly, if the enemy ambushes, you walk into an enemy ambush, what do? Right? And there's a couple of different styles of battle drill that you could train with your team to deal with an enemy ambush. Right? Everybody drops down, gets low, gets under cover, starts sending cover fire, and then you break off, part of your squad to sweep around and flank the enemy ambush and shoot and blow through it and kill all the bad guys. Great. It's good to be prepared. Being armed, carrying your concealed weapon, and having trained and been prepared to operate it, that's your battle drill. That's how you have yourself ready so that when something goes wrong, you never have to say, well, I don't know what I'd do if something went, if this happened. Know it. That's your battle drill. And at a base level, when you've got your young men that are running off at the mouth and they sound like they're just bloviating, they are trying, even if they haven't correctly intellectualized or understood this yet, they're trying to develop battle drills. They're trying to plan ahead. They do it poorly because they don't understand yet that that's what they're trying to do. But if you can make them understand that, they can make use of it. Same thing when young men go full braggart and start bragging about the fist fights they've been in, or the crazy stunts they've pulled, or the this or the that. At a very basic level, right? What they're trying to do, even if they do it poorly, is they're trying to convey to someone else the lessons that they have learned from their life experience. Yes, there is a social value in bragging about your accomplishments. Yes, you can elevate your individual optical worth in the view of others. You can degrade it as well, right? Telling old war stories, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're paying close attention and doing it correctly, you are teaching someone something valuable. Now take that to the next step. And instead of, and this is where we get into asking the question, okay, I'm going into the Waffle House. You got the counter. You've got the cash register. You got tables. You've got the low bar that goes around this way. You got the striped bars or the striped tables over here. You get that corner back here where you're going to be behind the armed gunman if something goes wrong. Now you're conducting battlefield planning operations. Now you're thinking ahead. Now you're working on strategy instead of tactics. You're up to the next level. Right? Because now what you're doing is you're not encountering the ambush and then reacting to it. You are identifying the ambush before you encounter it so that you can launch a counter ambush. Right? And here's what that difference looks like. You walk into an ambush unaware and get surprised. If your battle drills are on point, everybody can get out alive, at least your guys. If your battle drills are on point and you react quickly and efficiently and you do what you've trained to do as a team, everybody hits the ground, finds cover, starts with suppressive fire, keep the enemy head down, and then part of the team, one squad pops up, flanks around, and runs them the fuck over. You still win. Great. But what if you've got satellite imagery ahead of time, or radio communications intercept, or drone recon, right? Or a pattern of life intelligence packet to follow, right? There are several different tactical intelligence products that you can use to predict the presence of the ambush before you walk into it. So what if you know that the enemy has an ambush set up on your walking path, on your route, and instead of walking into that ambush, you walk around it and you attack it from behind. You ambush the ambush. You plan ahead. Battle drills are great, but battle drills are what you use when you have made the mistake of not adequately preparing your battle space. If you pay attention, you think ahead. Don't go down that dark alley. Don't sit at the 45 to the gunman's most likely position when he's coming in to rob the restaurant, right? Don't stand out in the open if you don't have to. Do identify cover positions when you enter a room, a building. Identify the exits, identify the cover positions, identify the physical objects that can be used for environmental combat, right? Pay attention to that stuff. And when you're a dude drinking a couple of cold beers with your good buddies, swap some stories back and forth. If I was there, I would. And that I would shouldn't be, well, I'd whoop out my 357 and just start blasting. No, hold up. That's insufficient. Where are you gonna find cover? What's your actual attack pattern? Right? What if the bank is being robbed by more people than you have bullets for? How are you going to compensate for that? What's your plan then? Right? Go ahead and have the conversation. Merely discussing it, what we call wargaming, merely discussing it and hitting each other back and forth with the what ifs. Well, what if this factor's there? What if this is different? What if this goes wrong? How do you deal with that? Right? Even if you're not getting your buddies together with some airsoft rifles and throwing on kit and going and actually doing battle drills and physically dropping on the ground and rolling around and all the playing soldier stuff that you might get in a tactical training school or a military training location with TRADOC. Even if you're not doing that, even if all you're doing is having the conversation, you're just discussing it. That's training. That's education. That's making you even that one tiny little percent more well prepared. That's worth your time. And if you're an old guy like me, right? I know there's a lot of guys in my audience that are older than me, so I'm kind of tongue in cheek there. But if you're an older guy that has the background, that has the experience, or even just has heard me explain this, and you hear some young guys, right? Some 18, 19, 20-year-old guys in a Waffle House, in a bar or something, running off at the mouth. And they're at that level where it's too basic and it's just bloviation, and they don't really understand what they're trying to do. Help them out. Help them out. Explain to them what the thing is that they're not doing correctly. Right? Hey, brother, I hear what you're saying, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? What if there's a second gunman that you don't see? Right? Where are you standing in the bank? Are you standing in the open? Or are you standing next to a chair that you can hide behind? Or are you standing next to a countertop that'll stop a bullet? Right? Do you have cover or concealment? Right? How many rounds do you have? What's your effective range? Right? Because the weapon has an effective range, but so do you. Right? Have that conversation. If the only result of that conversation is those particular young guys have a similar conversation with their friends, or at least get just that 1% smarter about the difference between bloviating and wargaming, and that makes them 1% safer, 1% more effective, 1% more man, then you've done your community a public service. That's your safety brief. Battle drills are great for when things go wrong. But the real big brain move is to use your intelligence packets and ambush the ambush before you walk into it. Right? And never use an existing entrance. in combat terms. I mean, obviously I'm going to go through the front door, but if I'm coming to black bag you in the middle of the night, I'm coming through a wall, because you know where the door is, but all your walls can betray you. So, and yes, public service, dial 811. That's correct. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it there. Thanks for watching this morning. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.